Hello everyone, hope you guys are doing great. Welcome to Australia Ludo Migration R. This is Akila. We have Saurabh Smart today. Hello Saurabh, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Well, thanks for the warm introduction. And my name is Saurabh Smart. I'm a registered migration agent with Global Vision Migration. And my migration agent registration number is 1802044. And just to let everyone know, a quick short disclaimer that any advice provided during this program is actually only for education purpose only. And if you do want to seek any personal or professional advice in relation to your own circumstances or scenario, always talk to a registered migration agent, and you can actually find agents if they're registered onto the website of Office of Migration Agents and Registration Authority.
Perfect, thank you. Guys, if you have already joined your session and are ready with your comments, please feel free to drop in your comments. We'll go through your comments once we have for comments flowing through. Today's session, we are going to discuss about the recent migration updates. What do you say about it, Saurabh?
Yes, so every week, we do come up with all the new updates and all the new um, topics and etc. for our aspiring migrants as well. So we are also going
Yeah.
to be today we'll be talking about the New South Wales update that recently they
Yeah.
updated the list. Many people are not happy with the list as well, and so we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about what are the options available to those people, because I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure not many people, almost more than 60 to 70% of the people are not meeting those criteria. And obviously those people, they are kind of feel themselves that they are kind of hopeless right now. They don't know
Yes.
exactly which state they should move to. So today we'll
Yep.
be talking about all this stuff, like which states to move as well. And most importantly, I'll be talking about a short course that's actually available, and where people can get permanent residency, and where people can get invitations really quickly as well. And we have seen clients have received invitations really quickly as well. So we'll talk about those options, etc. And we want to keep it as interactive as possible, guys. So
Yeah.
make sure when you do, whoever is watching, do leave a comment down, mention your occupation, mention where you are, where you're watching it from, or share it with your friends and family. It might not be helpful for yourself, but it could be beneficial for them.
Yeah, we have a lot of comments coming through. We have a comment coming from Prayanali. She says that he says that he has got 90 points with Victoria State and currently working as security specialist between 65K to 70K in regional area. What do you say about this scenario?
So, say for example, if we just talk about general Victoria State nomination rather than, because I will obviously I won't be I'm not going to answer any questions directly, but we will be talking
Yeah.
about indirectly. So, say for
Yeah.
example, someone this kind of scenario with who is working in their own occupation. As you all know, for Victoria State nomination, you don't actually have to be
Mm.
employed in your own field. If you are
Yeah.
actually employed in skill level 1, 2, or 3 occupations, you can still apply for Victoria State nomination. That's the best part of Victoria State nomination at this point of time. And say, for example, a lot of people are confused whether what's the skill level 1, what's the skill level 2, or skill level 3. So, skill level 1 is an occupation which requires at least a bachelor level qualification, such as
Mhm.
a software engineer, business analyst, accountant, etc. Skill level
Yes.
2 is an occupation that requires at least a diploma or advanced diploma level qualification. So that's a skill level 2 occupation. Now, the skill level 3 occupation is an occupation that requires at least a certificate 3 level qualification. So
Mhm.
that's, say, for example, a technician, a motor mechanic, a cook, etc. So, for example, if as an accountant could also be working as a motor mechanic, and then also he can
Yeah.
apply for Victoria State nomination as well. So that's the
Yeah.
beauty of the program, that Victoria has actually expanded their
That's
criteria
yeah.
to include so many occupations as well. And you don't actually have to be employed as well. Now they have also said that even though if you're not employed, you can still apply. However, a lot of people, they do need to understand as well that they're still going to prioritize candidates who are actually working, say for example, working in the STEM skills, working in advanced manufacturing, early childcare teachers. So those are the occupations which are currently still being prioritized. So in regards to question like hers, say for example, an ICT security analyst. working in their own
Yeah.
field, earning $20,000 a year, and working in a
Yeah.
regional area. So that's a very good profile itself, and it all comes down to what kind of information you have supplied in your EOI and all those kind of documents. And even last week itself, we have actually received around 5 to 6 invitations. And more surprisingly, the invitation that we received, the first one was actually offered for an accountant for 190 visa at 95 points, including state
Wow.
points. So that person is now over the moon because an
Yeah.
accountant receiving a 190 invitation is out of nowhere, and out of nowhere is actually, and they've been struggling from so many years, and they actually had no hope that they would actually ever be able to get permanent residency. So they were hoping to get 491, but we pushed them to do 190 because of the profile. And within a week, we actually managed to receive the invitation. So on 6th
Yeah.
of September is when we actually received the invitation for them. We also got received invitation for business analyst at 90 points, a developer programmer, an analyst programmer as well, and also a motor mechanic as well for 491. So as you can see, yes, the invitations from Victoria are flowing through. And also
Yeah.
we received a couple of civil engineers as well and a quantity surveyor. So yes, Victoria has started to invite people, and then we are hoping to get more invitations in the coming time as well. And if I've seen people, they do feel disheartened when they do see that someone else getting, their friends get the invite, but they don't get it themselves. Maybe talk to your friends. They must have done something different. They might have taken
Yes.
any professional advice or anything. So there are multiple factors. And then, profile is quite good for, if you're working in your field, earning 70,000 a year. So yeah, and I've seen part-time and full-time jobs are actually more prone to receiving more invitation rather than a casual job.
That's perfect. Thank you. And also we have a scenario where guys have moved from Victoria to New South Wales, hoping that they would get the visa invitations soon. But with the recent changes in NSW, they are now in dilemma whether to stay in NSW or move back to Victoria. So, do you have any kind of update for people like them?
It all comes down to what their occupation is. So say for example,
Yep.
an early childcare teacher. If you are an early childcare teacher in New South Wales, you don't need any work experience. You only need a minimum of 70 points. However, in Victoria, you need work experience. So
Uh,
it all comes down to occupation to occupation. But an early childcare teacher doesn't even have to relocate anywhere. They can just stay in
yeah.
Victoria and be eligible for permanent residency as well. So this is the scenario. A lot of people right now, most of the people who are currently in New South Wales and are not happy
Hmm.
with the rules are actually the one
Yes.
IT people. They are on a computer network system engineer who do not have 3 years of work experience, or
Hmm.
normal mechanical or electrical engineers who do not have that much experience. So those are the people who are currently struggling in New South Wales right now. And obviously, my advice to them is look for different options. If you do have 3 years of work experience, you should also look for employer sponsor option such as a plus 186, where you don't actually have to wait for the employer to sponsor you. You can actually be able to apply for permanent residency right away through your employer. So that's sub
Okay.
class 186, where you actually need 3 years of full-time work experience at a skill level in your nominated occupation. You would also need to have at least competent English language skills, which is equivalent to
Yeah.
6 each or 50 each in PT. And you would also need to get a skills assessment in your occupation as well. So these are the requirements for 186 direct entry visa. You can be a chef working at a restaurant, and you can have 3 years of experience anywhere in the world. If you can also
Yeah.
apply if you're working as a software engineer, if you had experience back in your home country. If you're working as a mechanical engineer, you had experience back in your home country, you can use that experience and then be eligible to apply for permanent residency here in Australia through employer nomination scheme. So there are plenty of options as well. A lot of people only seek for 190 or 189 or 491. However, I would request those people to actually expand your vision, try to see exactly, what other criteria is available to you, and then look for those options.
Yeah, I would say broaden your horizons. And now we have another comment from Hardik Patel. He says, what are the chances for a mechanical fitter with 7 years overseas and 2 years Victoria experience for 190 in Victoria?
Okay, so That's actually a good amount of experience for a fitter. I believe Hardik, you also should have a skill assessment as well, and he's currently sitting on 75 points. 75 points is actually a good amount of points for a fitter. As you know, there are not many fitters are currently available um, in Victoria itself. And if you're planning to go to New South Wales, they are inviting people at 70 points, and they want people to have at least 3 years of work experience. Given the point that you have actually up to 9 years of work experience, you certainly be eligible. You might be able to get a invite quicker in New South Wales than Victoria. So as you can see, different occupations, different
Different
states.
points.
So
Yeah.
it's not like one occupation would let you, you can go to one particular state, etc. So that's the thing. If Hardik has a friend who is a software engineer, and Hardik say that, hey, let's both move to New South Wales, and then obviously Hardik is in a better position in New South Wales than his friend who is a software engineer who might not have 3 years of work experience or might not have up to 95 to 100 points. So that's the thing as well. So a lot of people do tend to go to different states, etc., based on their friends, but they don't end of the day realize that everyone's profile is different. They
Yeah.
might have extra experience from overseas which you currently might not have. So be very
That's
careful, guys, in what advice you take on, because end of the day, it matters to you and it impacts your life as well.
yeah. I would suggest talk to a migration agent like Saurabh. That's why we have Global Migration Agency with us. Please do contact them for further assistance. And we also have another comment here from Shahid Ali Khan. He says, I have applied for Victoria as I am mechanical engineer of offshore aspirant, 491 visa with 75 points. What are my chances? Need your suggestion.
Yes, so we have seen Victoria also nominating people who are currently overseas as well as an offshore candidates at points at like around 75 to 80 points, especially IT people as well as engineers as well. So yes, the options are really good, Shahid. And if you do, Shahid, in the coming weeks, etc., in the new next invitation round, or maybe the forthcoming rounds, if you do receive invitation, make sure you do notify us in our live session that, hi guys, thank you so much for the feedback. I managed to receive an invite for a 491 or any visa that you are actually aiming for, and so that we would more than happy to share some happy news with our viewers.
Yeah, that's true. We'll go through another comment. Rohit Punjari. He says, hi, any idea about the next invitation round for Victoria? I am waiting for an invitation for 491 family sponsorship, ICT security specialist onshore. Lodged my file on September 2020. Recently scored 10 points in PTE, total 75 plus 15. That's 90 points. What are my chances?
So next invitation round for Victoria is pretty much going to happen. They had a round that happened last week, so I'm hoping the next round is going to be in next week itself. They tend to do a fortnightly rounds, but God knows they could do a round tomorrow. And then say, for example, another thing that we can do is he's also talking about 491 family sponsorship. So 491
Family
family
sponsor.
sponsorship and 189 invitations is actually done um, through federal government, through Home Affairs. It's not done through state. So that means that it doesn't really matter whether Victoria does invitation round 4 or not, because they're not going to send invitations for 491 family sponsorship. For Rohit to receive a 491 family sponsorship as an ICT security specialist, he would have to get an invitation from Home Affairs. So that's the thing as well. And they did a round in the month of August where they did invited people but they haven't actually invited anyone in IT occupations since Jan 2020. So
Okay.
Rohit, exactly, the time would tell. Apparently, they
Yeah,
might do
that's
another
true.
round. And then the thing is, during the COVID period, they also minister has a directions where they change the invitation rounds to quarterly rounds. So that means only 4 rounds in one financial year. So
Mhm.
one round has already been done, and that was done in the month of August. So if they do another round, that probably be 3 months from August, so pretty much maybe by December. So
Mhm.
let's hope that they do run that round, and they do invite IT occupations as well. And if they don't, then I would certainly request you to look for different options. Do not consider ICD security specialist as the only way out to get either a 491 or a 189, etc.
I would say keep your options open if you want to get the visa. And we have another comment from Sachin Vadra. He says, "What are chances of financial investment advisor 222 311 in NSW with 85 points under 491 offshore?"
So with the financial advisor, they actually require for 4 9. It's only available, obviously, I think, for 491 visa, and then require up to 2 years of work experience and 70 points. So that means that if they started to invite people from offshore, then yes, you would have a good opportunity available as well. And obviously, most important, New South Wales is the only state that would want your experience to be assessed. And this occupation require assessment through vertices, and vertices always deduct 1 year of work experience. New South Wales will not accept that experience if you try to claim that experience. So you will need to get that experience past the due date, past the deemed skill date. So 2 years from the deemed skill date, experiences will be required for this particular occupation in New South Wales. Yeah, I hope that answers those questions in regards to this particular occupation.
Yeah. So we also have another question from Muhammad Atiq. What about Queensland 491 invitation round? He wants to know Queensland 491 invitation rounds.
So Queensland, normally they don't publish their data on their website about when they're going to do the round. What I've seen is that they have actually already started inviting people as well for 491 small business owner, etc., even for 190 as well. However, they don't publish their requirements, and their invitations are quite random. They invite based on your EOI. So if your EOI is updated and it does meet the requirements, then certainly you can be actually eligible for Queensland state nomination, because only Queensland government knows when they do conduct the rounds, and they don't post those results or anything.
Yeah. For such migration updates, please contact Global Vision Migration. Saurabh is always there to help you and assist you with all your queries and questions. And we have another question coming from Yamini Naidu Rella. She says, "Hi Saurabh, how about chances for accountant with 80 points for Victoria State sponsorship?" I think we've already spoke about this, but would you like to add anything on top of it?
80 points for Victoria State nomination.
Accountant.
They have actually invited recently someone at 95 points. 80 points are considered a bit less for an accountant for Victoria to nominate. And then, end of the day, it's up to the Victorian government. What I've seen is that they have actually started a trend from the last financial year. If you look at the data for the last financial year, all the ROIs that they have selected, I haven't seen, any ROIs at anything below 85 points. So they all are at 90, 90, 95, 100, 105, those high points. And those are the one, who have actually received the invitation as well. So that's the thing as well, guys. You need to have higher points, and then only you'll be eligible to apply for Victoria State nomination. They can nominate people at lower points as well, but so far I haven't seen them nominating people at lower points. The higher the points, the higher your chances of receiving invitation.
That's true. And we have another question coming from Tunga Gauri Shankar. He says, "Will TRA deduct 1 year of experience? I have 5 years of experience as hardware technician in Australia. I have a positive GOT skill assessment from TRA. I have got a positive." Yeah, he got a positive assessment in TRA. What do you say about this?
So as a hardware technician, obviously it's a short-term occupation. And say, for example, it's only available in few states. Obviously, people can apply for 190 and 491 in Victoria as well. When it comes to hardware technician, they all are similar to like ICT support technicians. I've seen in Canberra recently, ICT support technician managed to receive an invitation at 70 points for ACT matrix. So yes, the chances are really good for such occupation as well. And obviously, when TRA do deduct years of experience, you can always request them to provide a points test advice, where they do provide you with how many points you can claim, what's your deemed skill date is, etc. So that makes your life easier and also makes the life of the state nomination authorities easier as well.
That's wonderful. Thank you for your answer for that. And would like to also know about Tasmania migration updates.
Yes,
And
so yeah,
yep.
so
And
Tasmania has
further,
recently.
sorry to interrupt. Carry on.
No. And what else was it? Sorry.
Any other state updates, if you have any other states recent updates, you can please add to it.
Perfect. So, say for example, Tasmania, obviously, you know that they have actually started inviting people, and they are only accepting people with gold and green pass candidates only. So what does it mean for you is that a lot of people are confused about, whether they do fall under the green pass, etc. as well. So under 190 or 491, they do have different categories. So under 190, say for example, if you want to apply for that particular process, you can apply either as a skilled employment, either as a skilled graduate pathway, or if you have been living in Tasmania for a longer period of time and also employed in that particular occupation, then you can also apply under established resident pathway as well. So, say for example, they do say that they have multiple ways that you can actually apply for. There are some steps that you would have to follow. Obviously, for a skill migration, general skill migration, a person needs to be under the age of 45. He must have a positive skill assessment. That's important. And the skill assessment should be valid as well. And a minimum English language requirement is competent English. However, you don't get much points for that. You get 0 points for competent English, but that makes you eligible to apply. And you need to have at least 65 points on the point test system for 190 visa. That's a minimum points at least. That means that makes you eligible, but that doesn't put you uh, in front of the queue when there is 1,000 people waiting. So, say
Yeah,
for example, and once you do meet such requirements, you need to have an EOI in place, and then you would need to check whether your occupation and the work that you're doing is meeting the requirement for gold or green pass in Tasmania. And say for example, they have actually started a nice online interactive nomination pathway, where when you do enter your details, etc., it does tell you whether you do fall under the gold pass or whether you fall into the green pass, etc. So the gold one is if you are working, you have a skill assessment and you're working in a nominated occupation for at least the last 3 months. And those occupation, they have a list of critical rules list as well. So, say for example, I used to always tell during on our live sessions that there is an occupation called civil engineering draft person, where you only have to do that short 1 year course, and then you can get a skill assessment as that. So, few of the people did that course as well, and now they are actually managed to get a job, and they are working in that sector as well. So, they're finishing the 3 months, and then they be eligible to apply for as a gold standard. So that means that they can get a gold pass. That means they can straight away apply for the state nomination in Tasmania. However, only limited occupations are in the critical list. All the health occupations are there: nurses, midwives, registered nurses, psychologists, and architectures are there as well. Civil engineering draft person, mechanical engineering draft person. There is no IT occupation, but there are construction project managers there as well. Civil engineers are also there, part of it, as well as electrical, mechanical, and petroleum engineer is also there as well. So these are the some engineering. These are the gold list critical roles that they have actually updated. And apart from that, now the next step is the green one, where if you are currently employed in the TOSOL, which is they call it Tasmania occupation list, which is a Tasmania onshore skill occupation list. There they have a lot of occupations as well, such as cafe or restaurant manager, accountants as well. And what they want is they want you to be employed in your field. They want you to be working in that occupation for at least 6 months, minimum of 6 months. And some occupations also require their employer to be registered in Tasmania for certain period of time, such as an accountant require at least 3 years of work experience, I mean, sorry, the employer must be registered in Tasmania for 3 years. So the same goes for few of the IT occupations as well, where they do want people to be employed. The business must be running for at least 3 years, and they do have added some more occupations as well, where you don't even need a skill assessment. However, you still need a skill assessment for this, for your general skill migration for EOI. But there are some another occupations such as I say, civil engineering, draft person, mechanical engineer, automotive, motor mechanics as well. And for those motor mechanics too, if you are employed in the last 6 months, your employer must have been registered in Tasmania for at least 3 years period. So those are the things, guys, you have to be very careful about on when you are talking about Tasmania state nomination.
Thank you. And for more updates, please contact Global Vision Migration, and also you can contact them on the phone number that is scrolling down below, and also the email address. If you want to contact the team, you can contact them in Melbourne or Canberra office for guys who are watching this live. And we have another comment from Abhiram Yerneni. He says, is it a good option to graduate diploma in early childhood teaching for PR pathway?
So yeah, so since we're talking about the graduate diploma of early childcare, so I will quickly explain this option to everyone. So say for example, a lot of viewers or followers currently, they recently got their temporary residency, and they would have got another TR for the next 3 years. And so this is the time where they can certainly be eligible to apply for 189, or even for Victoria state nomination, or for various states. As so this particular occupation, which is a early childcare teacher, um, you can do a graduate diploma of early childcare. So say for example, and the skill assessment must be done through AITSL, which is an Australian Institute of Teaching, Schooling and Leadership. With that particular occupation, what AITSL require is that you must have an ITE qualification, which is initial teacher education, such as grad dip of early childcare. And that qualification requires you to have also a 60 days of supervised teaching. That's part of the course. And it's only 2 semesters. And plus, you would also have to meet English language proficiency. And when it comes to English language proficiency, there are two options that you can take. Option one is you need to sit an IELTS academic exam, no PT, only IELTS academic, and you need to score 8778. So 8 in listening, 7 in reading, 7 in writing, and 8 in speaking. Or you need to show that you have 4 years of bachelor level above qualification in Australia, UK, Canada, New Zealand, or English speaking countries. So that's the requirement for AITSL to get a skill assessment. Once you do get a skill assessment, obviously, in order for you to work in Victoria as a teacher, as an early childcare teacher, you would also need a VIT registration. Once you do apply for the registration, once you do get registered, then you can work as an early childcare teacher and then apply for your state nomination or 189 or any visa that you deem eligible for. And it's a very good option. Most importantly, I just want to let everyone know there is an October intake next month, and that's the last intake for this particular course, which is actually available. If anyone is interested in that particular option, they can certainly send a text message to our number, my mobile number, and then my team would get in touch with them, and then they can explain them how they can take that opportunity. And that's only available with Victoria University. Very limited options available from October, because after October, the next intake is in March. And then if you do the October intake, you would be finishing your course in September next year. That means that you won't waste another 6 months till March. So first semester will be done, and then by next September, you'll be in a better position to be eligible to apply for either Victoria state nomination or any state nomination, or even 189 as early childcare teacher. And as you know, last week in the last 189 round, early childcare teachers received invitation at 85 points. So that's a very good outcome for such occupation. And even a lot of people also received early childcare teachers invitations from Victoria state nomination as well. So that's very important, guys. Do want to take that advantage, and it's the last intake for the 2022. Do not miss that opportunity. Otherwise, you would have to wait for another 6 months.
Okay. We have another question coming from Yamini Naidu Rella again. Uh, Hi Saurav, I'm currently on bridging visa. Visa A applied for student visa extension in April 2022. However, I have my exam in October and most likely I will get my completion certificate in November 2022. It will be all good if I get my visa by then. However, if I didn't get any outcome for my extension and if it is still in process, still my active student visa states as April 2022 and by the time I apply my TR in November 2022. There are a lot of timelines going on here. As the time lapse is more than 6 months, will I have any issue with the TR application?
Okay. So I'll just generally explain people. I'll quickly give a
Yeah.
glance about what 485 visa is all about. So if you want to apply for subclass 485 visa, you will need to apply it within 6 months of your student visa expiry, and also within 6 months of your course completion. That's very important. People only consider that you can apply within 6 months of your course completion. No, you need to also be careful about your expiry date of your student visa as well. The
That's
student visa that so be very careful in what options you take, and because that would actually jeopardize your future if you do not act accordingly, do not do the right course, or do not held the right visa at the right time.
yeah.
So be very careful, and yeah, exactly, and then you certainly be able to get things sorted if you are actually following the right advice.
Yeah. We have another question coming from Santosh Srinivas. Hello, team. I am currently on 485 visa, which expires next month. I studied masters and lived in WA from last 4 to 5 years. Will I hit 1 year extension or 2 years?
So, say for example, for such occupations, such as if someone's applying for extension stream for 485 as well. So, say for example, I just want to know if that person is actually talking about the regional extension, or if they have been they're talking about the normal extension stream or the second post study work stream. If they're asking about the second post study work stream, that if they once they do were in Australia, and then they studied from regional campus, and then they actually lived in regional area as well. If that's the case for them, then there's a different scenario as well.
Yeah. Perfect. I think
If
that
they know,
answers his question.
so if they
We
have
have an.
yeah, sorry.
You're breaking up, I guess. No, we are clear enough. Yeah, please go ahead.
No, no, you go ahead. I was just
Okay, second post study stream. I lived in Perth. So for that, he responded saying that he studied and lived in Perth.
Okay. So it also comes down to what kind of course someone has done it. So I would suggest him to, what he can do is he can send us a private message on our number above. So that number is also active on WhatsApp as well. And then certainly, because as I said, we can only provide some generalized advice, or during this immigration hour, we're not
Yes.
providing any specific advice. So I
Yeah.
would suggest Tosh to certainly contact us through WhatsApp on the number above, or he can actually give us a call tomorrow during the business hours, and our team will be more than happy to help him and answer all his questions.
Yeah. Please contact Global Vision Migration for further assistance. Their numbers are displayed up on the screen. You also find their email ID scrolling down below, and do follow Global Vision Migration to get more updates and on visas and migration pathways. Do we have other question? Yep, we
We
think
got a
I think
question.
sir, what? Yeah, we have another question, sir. What are minimum points for civil engineer and quantity surveyor for family 491?
Okay. So the higher the points, obviously the answer remains the same. Higher the points, the
Yep.
higher chance of receiving invitation. So far we haven't seen any invitations since COVID for civil engineers and quantity surveyors for 491 family sponsor. However, if we do get the invitations for those occupation, we can certainly notify you as well. However, there has not been any invitations for such occupations under 491 family sponsor. So no one can tell you exactly what are the points mark, because they haven't invited anyone in last 2 years, so no one has the answer. Only the
Yeah,
time will tell in the next round, if they do invite people at those many points.
that's true. We have another question on TRA deduction of 1 year of experience. I have
I,
five
I think
years of work
we
experience.
I think we already answered that one. That was a hardware
Uh,
technician.
Hardware technician, yes, we're done. I
Yes.
think, yeah, we have another question for civil engineer in quite casual position, and it's a FIFO job. Can I claim this as valid experience in my EOI? This question is being asked by Vinay Kumar Sontireddy.
Okay. So working as a civil engineer. So say for example, I was just going to talk about what experience you can claim in your skill in your EOI, or what experience you cannot. If you want to claim experience in your for your EOI, you would certainly be need to get at least 20 hours per week work experience, every week, at least 20 hours per week, and must be paid at a rate which is acceptable for a civil engineer. Another thing that you will need to understand is, when you are actually claiming points, is that you are actually doing the duties of of your nominated occupation, or a closely related occupation as well. So that's acceptable for expression of interest for EOI points as well. I hope this answers your question. And some states require that experience to be assessed, so be very careful what you claim. Over claiming also is a dangerous thing. Under claiming is also a dangerous thing. Always
Yeah.
claim the right amount of points.
Okay. And Harshit Nandan asks, can we expect NSW to change the eligibility criteria?
So a lot of people were not happy about, they were not happy with New South Wales with the hard criteria that they actually published. So what New South Wales has done, they actually said is that this is the criteria that they have actually provided is what's currently, it's a demand driven criteria. So that's how they say like, they can see in their EOI system that there are candidates with those many points and those many work years, years of experience. So doesn't look like that they're going to change any requirements any soon. They would prefer to keep it the way it is. But the time will tell. You never know. If they think that they're not receiving any good amount of candidates, then they might change the requirements to make it a bit easier for a lot of other people to apply as well.
Do you think the same situation will be with Victoria and other states of Australia?
As you know, Victoria, when they started, they were quite strict. They wanted people to be employed in skill level 1, 2, or 3. Slowly, they said, okay, now if
Yeah.
you are not even employed, you can still apply. As you can see, they ease out those criteria. So
Yeah.
that's how I'm hoping that other states should also join Victoria, and then they would try to ease out the requirements a bit, just to make their own state more attractive to skilled migrants.
We have a question from Praveen Batula. He asks, "Hi Saurav, is early childhood education certification 3 eligible for PR pathway? If yes, it is eligible. Is it eligible for casual employees as well?" So his request, he's trying to understand if it is available for casual employees as well.
So when it comes to early childcare education certificate, a lot of people also do Cert 3 in childcare, and then they do a diploma of childcare. That will make them eligible to for an occupation such as childcare center manager. So childcare center manager is also an occupation which is in the MLTSSL list, eligible for 189, 190, and 491 visas. However, it's not the early childcare teacher. So you need to
Hmm.
understand that childcare center manager assessment is done through ESICA. However, early childcare teacher is done through AITSL, and it's a teacher. It's a different kind of a role itself. And as you know, Victoria and New South Wales has published that they are going to organize a free childcare for everyone in the next 10 years. Like it will be roll out for that particular period of time
Yes.
from next year
Yeah.
onwards. That means that there's going to be so much demand for early childcare teachers for the next 10 years than the supply itself. And right now there is no supply. There are no more teachers currently. So that's the reason why I'm telling people to go for this particular occupation. It's a very good occupation.
That's
People are receiving invitations at a lower points as well. And a lot of people do not know. They start studying Cert 3 in childcare, thinking that this occupation, this qualification would make them a teacher. No, that's not the case. You would need to study a graduate diploma course, which also must have an IT component. So there's a certain things and requirements that you will need to meet in order for yourself to become a teacher.
Okay, perfect. We have a question from Charan. He says, "Hi team, I have 95 points in Victoria. What are my chances of getting a 190 for computer and network engineer? What is the cutoff point in the last round? Anyone got an invitation with 95 points?"
Um, Computer network and system engineer, even I have received an invitation for such occupation in the last financial year itself at lower points, at only 70 points for 190. So as you can see, Victoria sometimes do want to see candidates with a good amount of work experience, working in a good critical
Mhm.
sector, even though they have lower points as well. And 95 points is very high points for such occupation. 95 points means that you are ticking all the boxes. You got 1 year of work experience, you got NATI, PY, PT, everything sorted. And that's exactly what they want. They want people with the highest possible points. And if you are currently employed and you have a good amount of annualized salary, when I say good amount of annual salary, there is no minimum threshold that you will need to meet. As long as you have salary, you are actually having a certain amount of income you are earning from your skill job, that's fine, that's acceptable.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And we have another question coming from Hanuman. Chances of 491 for telecommunications engineer with no job living in Perth, 105 points, including 15 for 491. What do you say?
For telecom engineer, WA is the best occupation for WA. Last financial year, we received quite a number of invites for 190 occupation, 190 actually visa for telecom engineer. The points varied from 80 to 85 points, 75 plus 5 and 80 plus 5 for 190. Currently, as you know, for 190, you need a job offer in WA, at least a 6 month job offer. For 191, there is no such requirement. And 105 points is a really good points for 491. I'm hoping that he would be able to get invited in the next round. And they're going to do a round. They said they're going to do a round in the third week of September. So that will be a 22nd September. And now 22nd September is unfortunately is a public holiday. So
Yeah.
so we don't know exactly if they're going to do a round on that day or they do a round before or they might do a round tomorrow. So Hanuman, make sure if you are watching us next week again, do let us know if
Yeah.
you do receive the invitation. So we can share some positive news with everyone.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, do you have anything to add to this session, such as updates to students and people who've already applied and waiting for their invitations to arrive?
So the most important thing that I just want to let everyone know is that make sure everyone must have their PT score, their skill assessments valid. Because if you do get the invitation and they are expired or they're expiring soon as well, because Victorian government, if you do apply for Victoria State nomination, they want your skill assessments, etc., to be at least valid for 12 weeks from the date you actually apply. So be very careful. If you think your your skill assessment is expiring next month, make sure you do get that renewed straight away. Do not wait for it. ACS is only valid for 2 years, and PT is actually valid for 3 years for the purpose of migration, and for the purpose of your education. PT is only valid for 2 years. And I hope this session was informative for a lot of people, and then we certainly would hope to join you guys next week itself.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and follow us. Someone has joined. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. This session was such a interesting and useful session. I hope everybody enjoyed this. You found the session interesting. For such more sessions and interesting live updates, do follow Australia Aludu, and also don't forget to follow Global Vision Migration for any further assistance on migration. And also, we have their phone number scrolling down below along with their email address. Call them up. They would be more than happy to help you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.